first game.
Game number 3 is going to start. Now I think it's 0-3 match.
Like we've seen him play
The
this
game point for only like.
But then like Faker not being able to step up to Zeka, that doesn't come as too much of a surprise. Gumayushi, I think his Seraphine was definitely considerably worse, but that's not the problem, right? That's not why they're losing these games. We can only hope that for the sake of this series, at the very least in this game, T1 is going to get rid or pick a tiny Yordle that is flexible, that is just generating free gold around the map, and that really has been a big issue. And if they don't B1 it here, it just is okay. Thank God.
There we go.
This was all kind of they can't play it.
Blind pick,
I'm happy. I'm happy already. This is great.
Well, Ziggs gonna be locked in. Not sure where it's going. The Tristana ban is a little quizzical.
It's gonna have to be like Viper Seraph or something completely gross.
It could be something like that.
Oh.
Something like these ones, they do get access to the Vi, they're going to lock that one in. Could be something like Vi Talia to lock in here on the red side if they would like to, but could also just be taking away a bot lane. They might want to prioritize. Not sure what Viper wants to play. It will be his first game off the Ziggs, and he could be playing a Smolder here if he would like to. Instead, just heavy dive as the Kai'Sa are going to be locked away.
Viper
Okay,
Kai'Sa.
I don't know about that one. Man, only T1 and picked 64.
Yeah.
Bit of a questionable decision. Kai'Sa has really dropped in priority. And this to me is a sign that Humble Life's going to lane swap. Because I don't think you want Kai'Sa in an early lane against the Ziggs. I think in general, it's not great.
Nice.
T1 is just straight up stealing the homework.
Wrong
And I
pick
love it.
by
I think it's a
T1.
great choice.
That would be a Yasuo.
Zeka Yasuo?
It's Zeka, yeah, why not?
Nah,
Yoshi
Zeka is a
Yasuo,
Yone boy.
Would you like?
I would prefer the Yasuo, because I think that you can apply threat right from the get-go, but it's Zeka's Yone, so I'm not going to be mad either way.
Yep, I think he can lock in whichever one of these he would like. Something that can put a lot of pressure on the Smolder would be a good idea, and he does cycle back to the Yone eventually.
Zeka is a Yone
We'll be
boy.
able to lock
That's
that
why
one.
he picked Yone.
So, unlike esports, definitely taking a little bit of a different approach here. Certainly so much dive. And with the Vi, I think that the setup for the ultimate from the Yone is going to be a lot more dangerous, and then you can layer a Kai'Sa in on top of it. So, a lot of pick potential.
What has also been a consistent feat for Humble Life in this series is that I think they look so much more cohesive. They look very well coordinated, very clean. With the exception of Doran, who we haven't really talked about yet. I think we're going to keep it that way.
Yep.
But the rest of the team, very much on the same page. Obviously, Peanut and Zeka have been performing exceptionally, but I think even the Lights Engages, very much on point. Viper, obviously having a great time with the Ziggs. So, playing a dive composition when you've already shown that you're in great form right now, with these setup, with the snap engages, I think is always going to create a lot of confidence into the Humble Life draft. Wondering if they want to pick up, the Rel is kind of a no-brainer here, is an exceptional engage support, has been winning a whole lot in playoffs as well, and I also truly believe that even if you go for the quote-unquote counter pick with the Alistar, which provides great Alistar, but you can't give the Ziggs team a round. Like, just don't do it. Keria going Alistar, I think, is completely fine. Makes a lot of sense. There's going to have to be a blind pick here for Zeus, and it's probably just going to be Renekton. I just put it out there.
Sejuani Renekton.
Or it's like Smolder top and Faker counterpicks the Yone. That's like the only other angle.
Could we have a win brother up? That means that we'd have another brother battle, like we did in the first one. That's really cool if that happens. Well, Camille is another option here. That's a lot of side lane threat for one. Really powerful.
Yeah, I just love Camille when she's picked with Ziggs. I'm a simple man. You know, you have a lot of overlapping geometrical shapes, even if they're not the same shape.
Oh, yeah, true.
That just works. We saw it with Hanwha in game number 1.
Geometry, baby. That's what gets you across the line. What does Doran do? The Jax Camille battle could be coming in here. That is a lot of hands required. Certainly a fun one, but something that Doran has actually done very well on in the past. I think his Jax has been one of his better champions, but into Zeus, and right now, as far as form is concerned, I'm a little worried.
Yeah, it's also not I don't think it's one of those matchups that you guaranteed win. Like if you miss one,
I think
gets a hand.
it's a skill matchup.
Yeah, I tilted slightly towards the Jacks, but it's definitely can go either way. And again, it's very the snowballing matchup. And one team has Ziggs, who can just be in the sideline by himself and have a very easy roam timer. Already the Alistair can have a very easy roam timer to influence the top lane matchup. It's also one of the picks that does actually work really well with this Sejuani, which I am happy about. And I also think it's just a better champion in this draft than the Renekton would have been, so I'm happy about that. That said, I don't think Doran's form thus far has been great, so him opting into a skill matchup is definitely a bit of a stretch. I just want more gameplay, Atlas. If we get a double 3-0, yesterday's I don't think should come as a huge surprise.
No.
But today, the only one who predicted a 3-0 was Within, and I think many of us were at least a game. I hope that this is this game.
I would agree. And now we have to remember, this is where the T1 reverse sweep starts. Right?
I like your optimism. I'm not going to follow, but I do applaud you.
Hey, your prediction rides on this, right? You're the 3-2 of the T1.
Hey, it's fine. I had great predictions in the regular season. That's the playoffs. I don't care.
You just really hated being complimented.
Yeah.
So you're just trying your very best to lose them. Let's dive onto the Rift for game number 3. That little moment where we see everyone spawning in, but instead we're just having a look at the defense systems for everyone. Zeka going to be changing up his skin choice moving into this. There are some players that really like to stick to the one skin. Zeka and Deft is another great example of a player that goes with a different skin every single game. That's good, a bit of extra variety. Faker is going to grab some stacks from Peanut.
One stack.
There we go. Immediately. Grab some stacks. Sorry, not some stacks. Just some stacks. One little bit of stack. They are walking over a ward. They are well aware of what they're doing here.
Yeah, we're swapping.
Yeah, you're usually looking for that swap angle. And Doran, very aware of what's going on here. Just going to walk past Zeus. Not sure whether that is the greatest of maneuvers.
Yeah.
As he is going to press Counter-Strike and then continue to get auto-attack and bomb. A very weird series of events there as Delight is just going to wander in. It is a equestrian battle between the two of them here. A mount off, if you will.
Yeah, Delight a little bit slow there. It's actually really nicely done here by Owner, which you always want to do in these scenarios. When it's lane swap is try to secure an early camp on the quote-unquote enemy side of the jungle. Peanut, however, is doing the same thing. That was already ordered, so T1 making a good read on that one. And then now we'll just have vertical jungling with neither of the top laners really getting a whole lot. The big thing here is that Zeus was actually in the top lane from the get-go, whereas that wasn't the case for Doran, who just now has arrived, so Zeus is already level 2. This is something we've seen T1 do a lot, where initially their lane swaps at MSI, I think, were... Even when they started to kind of figure out how to execute them, obviously doesn't necessarily mesh that well with their style, but specifically putting Keria on the roam while having Zeus get a little bit more experience means that he often in the 1 is a little bit better, and when Zeus does well in the 1v1, T1 generally looks a lot more consistent. The downside is T1 knew this, when you swap, you are going to lose out in the play battle because of the resistances. I do think Ziggs makes it a little bit better, yeah, and it kind of beckons the question, if can play Ziggs, why not earlier?
Yeah, why not play Ziggs if can play Ziggs? That is a very good question. Something that we may not necessarily have the answer to. If they do just steamroll this game, utilizing the Ziggs beautifully. If this doesn't go well for T1, then you'll have your answer.
Then we'll know, yeah.
Zeka just trying to do his best to get as much farm as possible. Once again, you know, Baker on the Small are going to be pretty happy with how this one's going. Someone like Esports will be able to grab themselves yet another plate. And they're already getting a little bit of the extra money there. Jumping on top, Carrier avoids the bouncing bomb beautifully this time. And yeah, T1 going to be zoned away from a lot of this experience.
Doran has demolished as well. So actually getting a lot out of this.
Yeah, headbutt as Carrier just trying to get underneath the turret so at least they can get some of the experience. Doran is going to tank a turret shot, but that is another plate going over to this Kaiser. And yeah, a bit of an influx of money here for Humble Life Esports, putting them at about 400 gold in the lead, but that's pretty standard for these lane swaps.
Also, top lane is going to be not great for Doran. Because he's going to have to TP back to his wave, whereas Zeus is going to be able to back and then TP back in. So now the question becomes, can either of the jungle impact his top half? Because yes, I know that the gold for Zeus isn't better, but like his lane state is very far ahead of Doran. Doran just at level 3, Zeus is halfway through to 5. 6 spike is obviously absolutely ludicrous for the Camille. And Zeus again can trade as much as he'd like because Doran does not have TP. So Humble Life was able to get a lot of gold into Viper, and Doran actually got a decent amount of XP through XP sharing, so uses Demolish towards the bottom half of the map. But he is going to have to pay for the price for that in the 1v1. Is that enough? That remains to be seen.
It's the classic Doran sacrifice that he does just feel very confident doing, as Ona going to miss the smite, unfortunately. And Peanut is going to be able to take down his big Raptor. So like you're saying, the big winner is going to be Zeus here towards the top side. Even Doran with that wave bouncing back wasn't able to get that many minions, as we can see. Viper now looking to try and get out of the way, as that is going to be a stop on the recall. Don't know whether Doran really wanted to do that, as Zeus is going to hook shot over. And yeah, that's a decent bonk.
Doran, if Pina was there, that would have been great, but you don't have TP. And Zeus does.
Well, he does have walk, so he can theoretically go home and do that.
Yeah, if there was a gank timing here like this, that would have been a really good play, but now I just think it kind of misses the mark. Oh, I was actually hadn't had the opportunity to talk about it. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense now. So Viper actually has TP, so no Captain Barry this time around.
True.
And they TP Viper to catch that top wave. Doran's still going to be very, very sad, but Zeus hasn't backed.
Yeah, and he is very, very low. Zeka now in a little bit of trouble, but is able to snap back. Hextech Ultimatum does come down as Mom gets angry as well. A lot of damage there, but there's the flash forward into the crash down. Zeka's going to get interrupted. It's a decent pulverize. This is burning, but he survives. And that is first blood onto Peanut, picked up by Gumayushi. Still, the cleanup is going to be there. Delight likely to fall down though, and T1, they're stacking up Faker at the same time.
I think T1 come back in this game.
Again, just TP Camille to whichever wave they'd like. An overextension from Humble Life. And T1 getting a win here. Gumayushi is just going to be able to shove in here towards the top side of the map. And the attempt on Zeus's life there, even without his base, doesn't actually end up working out. Really big that he is able to get as much food as he does, dodges the Q, and then has the physical shield. So actually able to stay alive. That was very optimistic back in from him, but crucially, Zeka doesn't actually connect with the ultimate, so Zeus stays alive. The damage is there. Humble Life, with their dive, don't actually get their intended target, and then with the flash, Doran is able to take down the Camille, which is going to feel great for him because he really needed some help.
Yeah, but it wasn't quite enough. The interruption on the Fate Sealed by Carrier, absolutely amazing. Turns that into a brilliant pulverize there as well. I think Carrier having a great early game to start this one off as Viper. Yeah, he would have liked to have a Captain Barry opportunity there. Does not have it. Still is going to survive. And even on farm right now, that is going to change, especially as plates do start to fall down. Going to put down the minefield and just start having a really good time. We're moving down towards his bottom side as Zeus take not the greatest of trades, but with the Sejuani here, Doran is in a lot of trouble. Enough to move in, and he is kind of lurking. Information does go over to Ona here. This wraparound could be absurd. They do know that Ona is in the area. They know that this is a 2 versus 2. Peanut continuing to bide his time as Zeus moving back to the tri-brush. There is the counter-strike. The chain CC's decent. Cease and assist comes down though, and that's Peanut locking down the kill.
Nice play, Peanut.
Mouse there in that bottom lane, and that 2v2 was beautifully played by Humble.
Oh, Peanut just continues to find these moments. That's a pick onto Zeus. It was one of the few lanes for T1 that really was setting up for great success. And now Doran, oh yeah.
Doesn't go. I would have greeted for the demolish 100%. But I'm glad that he doesn't. Because Faker then doesn't get the stack off the Jax and possibly even kill him. And so first Drake going to go over to Humble Life Esports here as that Hex Tech is going to be locked down, and Secret Agent Peanut exactly in the right spot.
The problem here obviously is like if Zace's ult can actually negate a lot of that damage, but he doesn't. So he just ends up taking way too much upfront burst, so he can't use the power of that Sejuani. With the Camille as we feel the light is really going to be in trouble there.
Yeah. Did look at the win.
And now the top lane matchup is just equal, right? 2 assists there for Doran.
I think the items are pretty simple.
Well, actually Doran has an advantage.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
A whole refillable potion? That's crazy. Let's see what there's going to go back to base by just that to create the equilibrium that we all deserve. As Zeka is still doing a great job, actually ahead by about a wave. Faker having to play some triage around the map. Pick up some of these waves that were struggling, especially after that last gank on the bottom side. Scuttler going to be taken here by Viper. We haven't seen too much from him on this champion just yet. See what he's actually going to be able to get done on the Kaiser in this game, because we do need to see Humble Life Esports sort of set up for some of these pick-style skirmishes, because so far that hasn't really been the aim of the game. It's been more just lane phase and ganking and stuff like that. So as we finally get some of these moments, we'll be able to see some of the value perhaps of this Kaiser.
They're setting up a slow push towards the bottom half of the map. A lot of vision being secured as well. I don't think that they can really go for a dive here, but maybe they want to try and play for the turret push. Faker also roaming down towards the bottom half of the map, so that actually would enable a dive. Does get spotted, so Hanwha is very aware of this. Keria gonna run interference, but yeah, like realistically, some turret plates are the most you're gonna get out of this.
A lot of buttons.
Clears the way.
Up and available, and a lot of them miss from Gumishi there as well, so Zeka is still pretty healthy.
Again.
Oh god, we've seen this play before. Faker is rotating down. Delight's already here though. Teleport to come in from Doran or from Viper as both of them turn up. That is a phenomenal headbutt though from Carrier, trying to get them out of there. But Owner is in so much trouble. There's the killer instinct from Viper. He gets the big old shield. Peanut looking for the angle onto Faker, but he doesn't have any more gap close, and Faker's still looking to try and take it down. It's a double now though, and he just walks too far.
Well played, Hanwha.
Shuts down the Smolder, and
Beautiful.
Esports with the play.
The coordination from Hanwha proves supreme again, Atlas. As the TP comes in from Doran, looks initially like they are down a member in T1, take a big risk trying to force this play, even though it is being read. And it just backfires immensely. Now a Viper further ahead. The fact that was a 4 versus 5. The T1, they're already so far up, they just don't really have the opportunity to get out of here. As you point out, they're able to make this last for a little bit, but like Faker isn't online yet. If that Smolder has damage, this could be a really big moment, but it just isn't. And then here, I think, understandably, T1 want to try and salvage it with Faker, just need to back off, right? Like, if you stay near Guma, Carrier's always going to die, but giving over another kill to Doran, or a kill that you're just not going to get, chasing after Peanut, it's just a big mistake, and now the gold lead in favor of Hanwha Life. The one upside for T1 is that they're now in basically the opposite position that they were last time around, where they have Smolder and Ziggs.
Yeah.
So it's not quite the same in that they need to win these early games. But I think Hanwha Life, their coordination has been so good. And the one thing that I do think you struggle with Ziggs and Smolder is well-coordinated dive. And Hanwha has a lot of that, Atlas.
They do, and they also have...
will be big.
Yeah, Glacial Prison going to go wide there. Also Supercharges out of the way of the Winter's Wrath, and that means that he's going to be A-OK.
Honor try that Peanut style,
That could have been a kill.
which Peanut played last
Very
game.
least force a flash. Not happening in Hanwha Life. Get the objective here as well. Team Zek at the top, got the shot there.
That's going to even out the Grubs here, and means that both the Camille and the Jack's going to be on even footing as far as those side lanes are concerned. And moving towards this mid-game, we do have the Scryers, or does give T1 the knowledge that this is going down. But moving into the mid-game, we've got a Jax and a Camille on basically parity. There are 2 Ruby Crystals for Doran in advantage, but we also have Doran on 0 deaths and 100% kill contribution. Like that wasn't on my bingo card at all.
What does it mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
And obviously, main character, once again, is Peanut.
He's been pretty good.
He's been really good, Atlas.
And of course, the way that it's supposed to go, guys, the way the script writers have put this together, the T1 goes into the lower bracket earlier, and last time around, Harmonic Esports, it was a 3-0 in the first matchup, and then T1 comes back, you know, they get a little bit of extra practice against D+, taking them down in a difficult series, and then they'll 3-1 Harmonic Esports on their way to the finals. But don't worry, it's all still set up. Cloud Salt is going to be coming in as well, my personal favorite. You're going to run real fast, and that feels great. We'll just see whether T1 can weather the storm, because this time, they're not the ones with all of the onus on them. Harmonic Esports need to close this one out. They have been able to do that in our first 2 games, albeit after some shenanigans, especially in Game 2. And I think the harder they make it work for it, the better this is going to go.
Okay, Viper.
Yeah, let's not walk into the bombs anymore. Maybe he was just testing it, you know, to see how much damage he takes. Hookshot going to come out.
I'd also love to hear the opinion of the space on this, but if there is a game where you're allowed to go Zerefs, this is really one of them. You are playing into a lot of dive. Like, Zerefs actually, you can get a good amount of value out of it.
Yep. I thought you said you're allowed to play Zeref, and I'm like, they can't play Zeref because everyone's lost in their champions.
Yeah, it's not a I mean, Zerefs.
Yeah, he is. If you play in low ranks, Zeref is always there.
Shit, Zeref. Zeref? Yeah, we've all been there. Who's the worst? Get another full Shuriman guy. Which
hey, there we go.
Atlas is a big fan of.
I do like my Shurimans. I think if I was to play the Riot MMO when it comes out in 2057, I'm definitely going to start as a Shuriman character.
So, I hope I'm not Ione. I feel like you're leaving me. I really love Freljord and Mount Targon, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm worried about myself.
I think you'll probably do that. Maybe I will too. You never know. Maybe I'll just, the way of the sands will not be for me.
What's more edgy? Is it Ionia or Shadow Isles? Because I
mean, Shadow Isles is way more edgy. But I mean, I've seen the reviews for the Pro that recently came out, so I feel like the stocks are down.
But Yasuo also feels very edgy.
Yeah, that's true. Diego is just edgy. We're gonna have a look at Yone here, though. He's pretty edgy himself. He's possibly walking into a trap that does unbind his soul before he does so. Faker just gonna take a bit of damage, but also get a couple of stacks. And 16 minutes into the game, sitting on 169 right now.
That's not that base.
Yeah, pretty nice stack so far.
Enough. Looking like we should be able to hit 225 around. If he stays on course about 22 to 24 minutes.
2K difference between both teams.
It's going to be helpful. We do have Home Alive again, setting up these very proactive plays, already invading as a unit, getting control and seeing if some poor soul looks up. And yet another reason as to why Ziggs is just really good.
Yeah, the side lane control is certainly something that he does excel in.
Still hasn't lost a game in playoffs, Atlas.
Nope, 7 in a row so far. There hasn't been that many games.
I still can't believe. Yeah, okay, but some of those games were like B&K.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, the main ones that I'm focusing on are the fact that K has played 3 games in a row.
He did also look like the best one.
Yeah,
but that's fake data. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not fake data. He was also just allowed to play it 3 games in a row. So I think, I mean, T1 were not the only team that was struggling to figure out a way to counter the champ, because if you do manage to mitigate it, it gives you so much breathing room in these drafts. And T1 knew that they had to be able to win a game on red side to be able to take this series, right? Just because Harmonic Esports did get side selection to start this one off. And so you can understand exactly why they sort of left it up, because it's just not a lot of room when you're playing against Peanut, who needs to have, like, deforestation to start things off. As Doran possibly in trouble here, the teleport to come in, or teleports, but no, Vipers is on cooldown, Zeka is going to turn up to light in perfect position once again, play interference.
I was actually really hoping, as I just accused myself, that they would TP Guma in and just satchel. This would have been so cool.
Yeah.
It's like the turret's just gone. They get the turret anyway. I didn't really need to do that, but
he also wanted to be defending the outer turret in mid lane, but Viper is putting a bit of pressure advantage by about 400 as a result of that turret going down. Still Viper just happily farming. Does have his static shift completed already. Let's see what he's going to be able to complete now. I think 2 items spike to come in. 191 on the stacks here for Faker, really starting to build that one up. This was about where 225 was being hit by Zeka in his last Smolder game, but of course a very different story when you're against a Yone, who's a lot more mobile and annoying than Nasus. Zeka's just going to dive in, look for a bit of an angle.
He's got aura on his Jovi, or on his Yone, man. The only one, as I was going to say, the only one with more aura on his Jovi, which comes to much of a surprise. 2 items spike being hit for both Yuma and for Viper. Arrow's going to go down mid. This is a must-win, I think, for T1, but isn't that strong just yet. The light on a deep flank angle. T1 can still give this one up and just play for mid lane turret, but I think they really shouldn't. A lot of poke is going to be one of the main things. And the light, he is still behind enemy lines. I think they have a suspicion because Zeus is trying to snoop. Nope, just going to go. And oh, they don't have a lot of vision there. We see some question mark things. They know.
Well, Peanut,
there he is.
In the back of the pit. In comes Delight now as the Arctic Assault is going to miss. And now Peanut wants to find a priority target. Crashdown is going to be interrupted there, and Glacial Prison comes through as well. Zeka looking for the angle, but he isn't going to pull the trigger just yet. And now Viper going to get ultimatum. Zeka does find the angle though, and there is the ulti to come through. Mob comes down as well. Viper's thrown around the battlefield. They take down the Ziggs, but Faker is still at full health. And Zeka can't get on top of him. Peanut gets a huge shield though. Still the sneezing comes through, and Doran just picks up a triple kill out of nowhere. That's an ace, and they're like, oh, heck with the dragon.
Well played, on the night.
It's Doran that comes up huge together with Zeka. As T1 makes a colossal mistake, goes way too deep for Viper. Just walks into melee range of the Jax. And guess what? No one on T1 can deal with that. And it starts up basically as a dream. Yeah, Odin misses his Q. Yeah, they use a lot of cooldowns, especially that Ziggs ult. Maybe wanted to hold on to that one. But this looks like a dream. Take the engage away, and then here, crucially, they go into the no follow-up onto Viper. So, starts off with a great ultimate, and then Guma just gets immediately blown up in the fight, doesn't get to do any damage, and then Faker's alone against Jax.
Oh, Doran.
And against Yone, so he just doesn't really get to do any damage. He doesn't have the stacks yet either. I imagine lots of thanks, guys.
Yep, and thanks Doran there as well. But also, like, at the start of that fight, Delight ate so many cooldowns.
Yeah.
And so kind of still did his job. All things considered, as there's the flash forward. They do manage to lock up Viper here, and they will be able to mitigate a lot of the push. Zaya's now moving in. It will be the Dragon taken, so Soul Point is going to come on through. Great knock-up. There's the Glacial Prison going to be eaten here by Humble Life Esports, but now Delight. Crashdown comes on back in. The ultimate, and it is just Zeka taking control. How do they make these things happen? Carrier, he's almost out of cooldown.
On the life.
Lost pulverized, but this fight is done. And even without Viper there, they still roll over the top. This is probably the best day of League of Legends Zeka has ever had. And he won Worlds in 2022.
Yeah, and also we're coming in, we're like, oh, Doran, yeah, great series. What have you been doing, my man? And
just
Jax
still 100% kill contributions, by the way.
Jax does have an incredible amount of power in this draft. Again, Counter-Strike is insanely strong, but T1, I was fumbling these team fights. Humble Life is straight up outplaying them again, but invested into killing Viper. But I think that's fine. That's T1, and they're just not respecting. And they're lining up. Look at this, as you point out. All on their way, trying to make it happen. And then Delight sets them up. And then the creep, that's it. That's the end of it. Like,
and the cease and desist keeps them CC'd for so much longer because of the knocker side. Oh, man.
One of Zeus, Faker, or Guma needs to be alive because they don't have damage otherwise, and they just keep getting like triple man ulted. And all my life, they're just straight up outplaying them. And now, what looked like a pretty okay game state, like this game's done. Yeah, I know they have Smolder and Ziggs. I know Smolder's hit his stacks. No, I don't think it matters. I think that this is a insanely dominant 3-0 sweep unless T1 get the comeback, the likes of which we haven't seen yet this playoffs.
That's what they're relying on if they want to keep this series alive. HLE Esports looking to repeat.
It's a 9k difference between both teams
yesterday and make the upper side of this bracket look very, very powerful here in the LCK. Teams waiting in the wings will mean that T1 not out of it. If they lose this game, they will have to face off against a D+ that did just struggle against Gen.G yesterday. An opponent that they have been able to dispatch more recently than not. HLE Esports have been able to best T1 both times of asking here this season, and look at that gold advantage. 3.7k for Doran. That is a ludicrous amount of money. All right, Blast going to try and get them back in here as there's the Void Seeker. Viper takes matters into his own hands, and Goober's just
beautiful play by Viper.
That they could do about it now. Carrier's in trouble. The fate is going to get sealed, and even is able to queue out of the way of the Glacial Prison that was lying in wait. They are still taking a bit of damage here as more Void Seekers funnel on through. But this is going to be even more money going over to HLE Esports. That 10,000 gold gap is very close approaching. Sitting at 9k right now, and Peanut going to be able to get rid of all of this vision. Look at the vision line encroaching onto T1.
As we take a look here, it's a classic. You just want to get that satchel. Really, I'm very happy that Gumash was something we can stick. You gotta be able to say no to getting that turret Atlas. This is the problem, is that if you do have the type of composition that doesn't just sit around and has to watch you slowly poke you down with the smolder, with the Ziggs, but you're on the front foot, you're the one engaging continuously, he all of a sudden looks a lot worse. Like, yeah, Faker's hit his item spike, but HLE sitting on Soul Point, sitting on 9,000 gold lead here. Basically an item up across the board. And they don't, it's not even like they don't have range, because Viper can just fire these Void Seekers. Outside of Owner, everyone else is going to be, I guess Carrier also, but everyone else will be very unhappy if they face tank one of those.
And look at Doran as well, recognizing that they don't have the most amount of magic damage. Yep. The Abyssal Mask comes in just to try and buff up Viper, who does have his natural now completed. Decker does some mixed damage as well, so
yeah,
kind of some value there.
Between Jax, who Doran probably going to go Zonia's next, so like between Jax, who has a good amount of AP scalings, the only
his fourth feels kind of unfair, right? Because it's like all of his items kind of do more damage, but they're also kind of tanky.
It does actually feel very unfair, yeah.
Well, I think the most unfair part is the 4,000 gold lead that he has individually.
It helps.
Yeah,
it helps.
I would say so.
It's a good outfit for HLE. That's what it comes down to, Atlas.
If he was to write a guide, would the first part of the guide be get 4,000 gold ahead, or would the first part be like what to build and stuff like that? Because I think the most important part in this game is the gigantic snowball that HLE Esports built.
I was trying to get back to fashion.
What would the fashion analogy be?
Well, I don't know. I was kind of hoping you would give me an opening, but
I thought that was an opening. It was a bit ham-twisted. However, I would say that it was probably an opportunity for you to go for it. That is going to be Cloud Soul picked up here by HLE Esports. And yeah, it's a lot of money on Viper. He's got 300 CS here.
It's just an everything gap.
Atlas,
it really is. Like, looking at how these fights play out, HLE clearly have woken up very, very sharp here today.
And oftentimes, like, when this year started, not even this season, when the year started, we looked at HLE Esports and said, wow, okay, there's the season assist. Killer Instinct comes down. Gumishi this time can go golden, but Delight is going to be here, and Viper just pops him. That is going to be Oda now in trouble. The crash down still gets the CC, even with the headbutt, and they're still going. Faker, he's going to go golden, but that is just to watch as the bad guys encroach. He can't get through the base gate as Doran's going to be able to lock him down. That is Viper dead once again, but he's been bait this whole game. And as he hook shots away, he is going to be able to get some funny business done, but the flash forward, and then the counter strike. And I think he is just dead. That's going to be the ace. And HLE Esports, I think they're just going to say top of the morning to the series here as they look to push it for the win.
And Gen.G remains a formidable opponent, Atlas. but you really couldn't ask for more from Hanwha Life, showcasing that they are in fact, and by a seemingly insurmountable margin, the second best team in the LCK, because what this team is showing here today, compared to what T1 has brought, what DK brought us yesterday, it's just not enough. It's a very nice little showcase there of the interaction. Counter-Strike reducing AoE damage.
Yep, Kara is looking for a bit of an angle here. They're not able to kill him. Ona is going to walk in though, and teleports are coming down. Voidseeker not going to find the mark, and that would have been a killer instinct immediately. There from Viper. He has no regard for his own life whatsoever. He just wants to start fights, and I do love that about him. They are now going to look for the Baron, and I don't know whether T1 going to be able to do anything about it. If ever there's a time for a Hail Mary, though, it is right now. Voidseeker going to connect onto Ona as Zeka this. Never mind, he's absolutely fine. Unbinds the soul, and Peanut going to get headbutted back. But now Torin looking for the angle, doesn't get the counter-strike as Gumiushi. He's able to flash to get himself out. That is a decent ulti, though, and Torin just goes golden. The cease and assist comes down, and now it's Viper at full health, just massacring them. And the wallets, they come down hard. And that is going to be another ace. And that will finally be the win here for Hanwha Life Esports.
7 by 26, the cleanest.
As Hanwha Life stamps an end to this game, this series.
It's 3-0. Hanwha Life win the game.
Incredible performances from the
Beautiful play by Hanwha Life.
This series for him.
Best of luck for your next game with Genji.
This was absolutely